Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you another video. All right, so Shams is going around telling the world a bunch of stuff about the Lakers today. I don't know. See, what time is it? I don't have a watch, but I'm pretending I do. What time is it? See why now is the time to release this information. That's what's important because people need to understand that there's a reason things are being said at a certain time. And I alluded to this a couple weeks ago. Nah, not really. It was probably 5 days ago, maybe something like that. I made a random Laker talk video where I told you guys that I think the Pacers are trying to ramp up conversations to get Turner moved. They want him moved. Okay. So this is what I'm seeing being released at once today, right before the game. Lakers have no interest in Kyrie Irving. The Lakers were about to make a trade with the Pacers using the 2 picks. Those are the 2 things that Sham is releasing to us at once. I think, I firmly believe that information is being released to us at a certain time for a certain reason. I look at all of this, including the timing of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's statement uh, in regards to Kyrie Irving. All of the timing of all of this looks very, very, very interesting to me. So I'm just paying attention to it. It's a leverage thing that I'm guessing as I'm looking at tea leaves that don't really connect. Feels like leverage to me. It feels like the Pacers are trying to get a deal done because they've been sitting here all summer long hoping the Lakers would just hurry up and get this and just cave to doing this deal. Because as long as we're holding on to the 2 picks, the reason why we are holding on to those 2 picks and Russell Westbrook is because we want Kyrie Irving. That's the piece that we know Braun wants. That's the piece that we know ultimately is a proven champion with LeBron James. And we don't have anything else looking forward that is good enough to make us a champion. Buddy Hield and Miles Turner may be good enough to make us close to it. Maybe we get lucky and some things work out and we find ourselves in a position to do good things. But the problem is, as we know, we have a lot of bigs right now. Bigs that we have on affordable contracts, bigs that can stretch the floor, bigs that can block shots, bigs that do the things Miles Turner does. We have Miles Turner on our team in the form of about 3 players right now. He's already here. Everything he does, we got. So the thing about it is, bringing him in on top of what we already have at a good price is dope. Of course, another big that can stretch the floor and block shots, keep AD healthy, it's beautiful. Problem is, he's a free agent at the end of the year, and he wants a lot of money. He's a very good player who's played in one place his entire career, and he is valued as a number 3 guy or a number 2 guy there, and has been the entire time. So he wants comparable money to that, and they don't want to pay him that. His team, the Pacers, who's had him his whole career, don't want to pay him that. So they would much rather get rid of him before the season starts because he's somebody that missed a lot of time last year at the beginning of the season. He had an excellent 40-plus point game, blocked a bunch of shots, and then went down and stayed down pretty much the whole season. So what they don't want is him on his expiring contracts on their team because they got a bunch of bigs just like us and dirt cheap with high upside that need to be playing the minutes he's playing. They don't need him. But what they also don't need is to give him away for nothing or let him walk at the end of the season for nothing, especially when they have those bigs in place. They need him gone, and they need him gone now. Problem is, nobody wants to negotiate with him at the price tag that he wants because of the circumstances that I just described. The Pacers don't want it, and neither does anyone else. The Lakers were the only team that they had in place that was willing to do a deal for Miles Turner that I've heard about. Now, obviously, a deal could be done a million different ways. You can find a way to move him, but the point is they haven't. So the move that they know is in place is the Lakers. They want them 2 picks. They want those 2 picks. And they don't want those 2 picks going elsewhere in the event that we do a deal for Kyrie Irving or anybody else. Because you know who else wants those 2 picks? The San Antonio Spurs and the Utah Jazz want those 2 picks, and they do not necessarily have to be involved in a deal with the Lakers in order for the Lakers to get Kyrie Irving or the Lakers to unload those picks. So what they're trying to do is corner the Lakers into a position to feel as if the pressure's on them to now make the move because obviously we're an incomplete basketball team. It's not very good right now. And it is important that we get good because we have LeBron James on tab. But what if I told you guys, since about midway through the summer, LeBron James took away the need for the Lakers to react to said pressure. By signing his extension, he effectively gave us carte blanche to hold our picks as long as we need to find the deal that will make us good enough for him to be a champion this season, which means we have until the deadline with those 2 picks to find something better than what it is that we have on tab. Now, we could settle for a Utah deal, give them 2 picks, take back a couple of contracts that we don't like. Maybe we get lucky and slide back a player like Vanderbilt that maybe would be desirable from them. Call it a day. Westbrook's gone, got 2 picks, gone, but we also have a team that is complete. Do the deal with the Pacers, same thing. Now, what that says for the future with those deals, less flexibility. You're out of the 2 picks that you would need to make a better deal. Now you don't have anything left to trade with. So if something happens where one of these pieces go down, or Miles Turner just happens to go down with an injury or something after you make a trade like that, he's walking for nothing, or his value goes down. You can't trade him no more. You're never going to be able to get good enough to make yourself a championship level team this season. Once you trade those picks, ain't like you can say, oh, damn, this deal sucked. Give me those picks back, please. And no, they don't work like that. Once you do the deal, it's done. So what does that mean? That means you got to make sure that the one deal that you make is the right move. You know how they say your next move, your best move? That has to be the Lakers' mentality as it pertains to the only 2 picks we have left. Mind you this, we have 2 first-round picks. The ones that y'all trying to give up for the Pacers deal, that's the only 2 picks you have left. As soon as you give those up, you're out of picks until 2027. It's 2022 for those who are wondering. So what I'm telling you is, no, I'm not interested in giving away my 2 picks for a trade package that involves us taking about back pieces that we cannot properly pay going forward, nor properly get retained value for. You are trading him up for Miles Turner right now, and the best way to play his contract is to then turn around and trade him again at the deadline. How does that make sense? That does not. They don't make sense at all. So, what the Lakers should do is literally ignore today when Shams and whoever it is that's giving him that information is trying to apply pressure to us with that information. We need to ignore that and continue to stay focused on what it is that will ultimately bring us the best possible return for those 2 picks. Anything outside of that is punting LeBron James' tenure here. I don't care what the clock says. Okay? I don't care what the clock says. The clock has to work in your favor, Lakers, in order for your move to make sense for your circumstances. Shams ain't in your corner. He don't care if you do. He's just reporting the news that's been given to him. And the people who are giving him the news are giving it to him for a reason. And that is the focus here. That's it. Whoever they are, they don't have our best interest in mind, because if they did, then they would tell the fullness of the circumstance, which is we didn't do the deal. Why? Because it wasn't the right deal for us. It wasn't the right deal for us. Sham is not reporting anything in regards to the Pacers that we didn't already know. We were engaged in conversations with the Pacers about a deal. It never happened. We know that already. One thing that's been repeated over time is that they give us information we already know and then report it to us in such a way that's supposed to shock us as if we don't know the information. We've known, we've been talking about the Pacers to the Pacers all summer long. Now, my theory about the Kyrie Irving information, I don't know, man. I think that what you have going on is probably a little more of the same. People know that Kyrie Irving wants to be here. People also know that the Brooklyn Nets are in a position to probably be a little iffy as the start of the season begins, and the chances of them not wanting to pay Kyrie Irving are pretty high. Pretty high. So what they're trying to do in releasing that information is essentially deterring whoever within the Laker organization who would support Kyrie Irving. I think that information was released by somebody in the organization who doesn't want us to go after Kyrie Irving. That's what I personally think about that particular report. I do believe that. Because what essentially it says is that the Lakers don't have the Kyrie Irving in their plans going forward. That's fine. If that's the report, that's fine. Why does that need to be talked about right now? At the same time that the 2 picks that we need to get Kyrie Irving is being reported by that same person to be not gone, because that's exactly how he's reporting it. The Lakers almost did a deal but didn't do the deal. So like there's nothing to report, but yet there is for some reason. Like for example, I was gonna go down the street and grab something, but I didn't go. But that I told you I was going to go down the street is relevant for what reason? I didn't go. I could make that up about literally any and everything. I was almost going to buy a car this morning. I didn't buy it though. I was gonna buy a plane ticket to wherever you are, but I just didn't. Like, why am I telling you this? You don't need that information. I can make that up about anything ever that ain't gonna be done. All things. Name them one by one. That stuff that ain't gonna be done, we can do this for the rest of our lives. It holds no purpose other than to deter those who want that from believing that it can happen. But when you know, you already know. See, the one thing about being on this channel and following me is that we never lost sight of what it is that we're doing. We never lost sight of why we're doing it either. We want Kyrie on this team because there's no other path to making us good enough, as we've already said in this video. There's no other path. It's not about bringing him in because we think he's going to lead us to the promised land of enlightenment, or because we think he has the answers to the questions of life, or whatever it is that they're trying to place upon him when they vilify the man. You see what I'm saying? It's like, okay, because he doesn't bring all of these great attributes to your world, he shouldn't be on your team. It's like, well, first of all, that's a bad depiction of what it is a man's doing. But go ahead and paint the picture as you feel. But at the end of the day, ain't nobody dribbling like that. Ain't nobody shooting with that type of efficiency. And ain't nobody won a championship with LeBron James at the point guard position that we can grab and say, all right, we're good enough to win the championship for sure. Nobody else. If that happened to be attached to somebody that maybe would be more favorable in the eyes of public opinion, or Pfizer or whatever company would, prefer him to take the shot, fine. I don't have those. I don't care nothing about that. As a Laker fan, I don't care about none of that. I just want to see the piece that can help us win, the piece that our main guy believes in purple and gold, so he can literally help us win. And anything in the way of that, needs to have a plan B better than that one. That's the same thing I'm saying to anybody that doesn't want Kyrie on this team. Do you have something better for me? Because I gave y'all something I thought was almost as good. Vucevic and DeRozan for 2 picks in Westbrook. I don't think the Bulls are going to actually do that. But if I have to live without Kyrie Irving, that's the deal. That's the one. You make that right with DeMar DeRozan. That's the deal. Now, this nonsense with the Pacers ain't doing that. Why? Because last year, the Houston Rockets taught BDF44, my very own self, a very tough lesson I was vehemently against, but it taught me something valuable, and I've stuck with it, and it's kept me sane in regards to this specific point. All you got to do with John Wall's contract is wait. Don't rush. I was telling them to hurry up and rush. Move this and that and the third, because you're not going to be able to get the right retaining price for John Wall's contract. You need to just go ahead and do different things. And they were like, no, we're going to wait for the right move. Or rather, that was a Ben Simmons situation traded for John Wall, which is why this doesn't make any sense. But follow me here. I was essentially saying that the Nets should trade for John Wall because they weren't going to get anything else for Ben Simmons. That patience that they applied to that situation against what I was saying is something that taught me the lesson that we need to use right now, which is in the presence of all the different things that look a certain way, you just got to stand with what it is that you have and wait for things to change, because they will. Pieces will be available as things just naturally change in the NBA. Players don't want to be places no more once they start losing. Guys get into situations throughout the season and maybe they don't want to play with a certain coach no more. And then that's when your picks become more valuable, because you would have effectively waited past this moment where you were looking at the clock saying, ooh, should I do it now because Shams is talking? No, Shams is talking because somebody else wants you to move. You need to not move because they want you to move, because it's not in your best interest, not because it is. And fan pressure is going to be something that is manifested by reacting to these narratives, and that's what they're hoping to do. Use people like myself and my overreaction to what this news is as a means of applying pressure to the organization to do stuff that does not benefit itself. That's all it is. They're using us going, hurry up, our team ain't good enough, please do something, to ultimately force the team into doing something that's not good enough for us, that we're ultimately going to blame the team for doing. The same people sitting up here saying, do the Buddy Hield deal. Once they do that deal and we're not good enough, they're going to be the same ones saying fire Rob for doing the damn deal. And I know he knows that.
which is why he needs to ignore all of them and just focus on what it is that he needs to do to make his team as good as he's intended to make it from the beginning. And if Miles Turner and Buddy Hield are not the move that's going to get us there, then it's not the move to make. Whether the clock says this or that or the third. The only clock we need to be focused on is ours. What does our timeline look like? Trade deadline. We got time to make our pieces more valuable. We got time to see things open up. See the Red Sea part open up for us just based on circumstances I just described. And ultimately, we will be better for doing like the Nets did and waiting instead of trading for John Wall. Nope. The clock told them to trade for John Wall, but they made sure the clock was favorable to them, not to the rest of us, not to anybody or not to me when I'm sitting up here saying, do this now. No. Nah. I'm going to wait for the clock to say what it's supposed to say when things favor me. Not when they favor the people that Shams is getting his information from, and certainly not when it benefits those who don't quite want Kyrie Irving on the team for the right reasons. A lot of people don't want Kyrie Irving on the team because they think he's going to be a problem. Believe you me, not bringing him in is a bigger problem. I'm telling you that right now, as somebody who knows this sport, been watching this sport his entire life, not having that piece this season is a lot worse than having it. Trust you me, given what we have right now, it's not a secret. We ain't good enough. But if we do something that makes us not good enough, we're going to be not good enough without 2 picks. And that's a lot worse than where we are right now. So do not lose sight of that, y'all. Unless the Lakers have just developed some plans for which paying Miles Turner $20 million is within that plan. Unless that's the plan that's going to get us the championship, that's not something we should do. If we were going to bring in Miles Turner, I'll tell you exactly what I want the Lakers to do. You got to get rid of 2 of those bigs. 2 of them. Not 1, 2 of them. And you got to be able to get rid of Russell Westbrook without losing those 2 picks. Then and only then do I think bringing in Miles Turner at $20 million makes any sense for us going forward. That's the only way. You got to free up the cap space, retain the 2 picks that it's going to take to get the man, and lose a couple of them bigs that otherwise he needs to make his position make sense. Personally, I don't want us to do none of that. I don't want us to do any of that. But that's what it would ultimately make. That's what it would take to make it make sense in my mind. Because otherwise, we just overloaded at the 5 spot with a player that's going to take up a majority of our cap, who's got injury issues. Do we not already have that in Anthony Davis? You're going to have that in 2 players now. And what's that going to mean for Bron? You think he's going to be good enough to win with 2 bigs that have injury issues? And that be it with his cap? That's all the money? That's it? And then you know what's going to happen? Midway through the season, you're going to start hearing rumblings about Joe Tsai not wanting to pay Kyrie Irving. That's exactly what's going to happen. Because he don't want to pay him. We already know that. So the clock doesn't tell you that now. But whoever released that information to Shams knows it will soon. They know that just as well as I do. So we need to do what it is that me and that person know, and hold out and make their worst fears come to light by trading for Kyrie Irving later on. Because you know what I know? I'm going to tell you what I know. I'm going to tell you something that you don't probably have in mind right now, ladies and gentlemen. But if the Brooklyn Nets wait until the trade deadline to trade Kyrie Irving, it may not take 2 picks for the Lakers to acquire him. That's what I'm here to tell you. See, the price tag on Kyrie Irving is 2 picks right now. 2 picks in Westbrook right now. Because his contract is expiring. See, this could also be the motivation behind releasing the information on us not having him as a part of our plans. This could be another angle. Hear me here. We tell people we don't want Kai. Why? Because of what I just said. The longer it takes, the less he costs. Because his contract is for 1 year. And once that contract, the year begins, well, it's less of a contract to pay for, is it not? So why am I paying the same price for it now as I would pay for it in February? I wouldn't. I absolutely wouldn't, Brooklyn. And you need to know that. So I think whoever released this information thinks thinks all of these things that I just said. I think they think all of these things. I think they see the path where the Lakers can get Kyrie Irving for 2 picks or maybe even less later on. And they don't want us to wait for that moment. They don't want us to see that moment come on the clock. Nah, they want us to move now because it's too damn early. That's why. It's just too early. That's why they want us to move, because it's a bad move. So that's what the chess piece tells me. That's what the chess board tells me. You hold what you have as currency until you see something you want to pay for. You don't care what everybody else is talking about, because everybody who's talking wants you to do the wrong thing. You ignore them and do the right thing, because that's what they don't want. And you're going to be laughing, smoking cigars in their faces while they're crying, pissed off, throwing rocks at the throne, because you made the move that you should have made that made you in position to ultimately take advantage of the clock instead of doing it when they wanted you to do it, which would have been in their best interest. So, Shams, you do a great job reporting the news, man. I'm not mad at you. You're awesome. But the people who gave you that information, they want things done a certain way, and that's against my interest as a Lakers fan. Bottom line, I have no interest in doing a deal for Miles Turner. Not last week, not next week, not tomorrow. I don't need to know about the deal that wasn't done. I don't need none of that. The only reason why I even want the Lakers to stay engaged with the Pacers is because it gives us leverage against anybody else that we otherwise want to do deals with, a.k.a. Brooklyn. That's the only reason why you even stay on the phone with those people. Them and Utah. That's it. You stay there because they otherwise are somebody we can say, yo, we're talking to somebody else. So whatever it is you got on the price, we can just go back over to Indy and talk to them. That's the only purpose Indy has at this point. They don't have nothing we want. Unless they're willing to give us the pieces that are really good on that team, and we know who they are, because we've already mentioned them. Taylor, Jackson, Mathurin. We know who the pieces are. When they're ready to get those pieces up, Smith, when they're ready to get them pieces up, then we can really talk. As long as the conversation's about Miles Turner and his contract and his hurt body and Buddy Hield and his inconsistencies, no. The 2 picks, no. That's not, no. We're not interested in that deal. We just want to pretend like we're interested in that deal. We don't. If we wanted that deal, it would have been done. And anytime we want to do that deal, we can do that deal. Now, next week, the week after that, the clock is always going to be in our favor in regard to the Pacers, because if they could have gotten rid of Miles Turner, they would have done it already. They're waiting on us, and we're waiting on Reed. So, if they want to be a part of this deal, then they need to wait like the rest of us until Joe Tsai comes to the conclusion that he ain't going to pay Kyrie Irving, then they can incorporate themselves into this deal and bid with the Utah Jazz or the San Antonio Spurs about who's going to be the team that gets the 2 picks. That ain't our problem. Figure it out. Whoever upbids the situation will be a part of it, as far as I can tell. I don't know. That's between y'all. Y'all figure it out. But that's how I'm looking at that. Y'all all want our picks. So whoever pays the highest price for them will get them. That's how that actually goes, ladies and gentlemen. So, you know what you come to me for, man. I read tea leaves. And as far as I can tell, nothing has changed. Same old same, y'all. We have our picks. We have Russell Westbrook. We're starting the season like we told everybody we were going to do. And we're ready to hold Russell Westbrook for as long as it takes, because we're not giving them away for free. We're not going to give away our picks for something we don't want. We're not going to compromise our flexibility. And we're certainly not going to punt LeBron James' tenure as a Laker if it's not going to make us better. We would rather punt it with our picks than to punt it without it. And that's the point. If we're not going to be good enough to win a championship, do it with 2 picks in hand, ladies and gentlemen. That's my motto. If we're going to suck with 2 picks in hand. Video 44. Wait, let's give about 13 seconds so we can get to the Kobe minute. At the end of the day, I trust my team at this point. They've made a lot of good moves. LeBron James is calm, ready to start the season. Everybody's cool. Patrick Beverley's in place, ready to kick people in the tail. It's going to be fine, man. We just have to get the trade that we're looking for. Not the one they're trying to force us to, but the right one. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.